What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about should you still buy the Steam Deck OLED here in 2024. Me having this device, when did I get this thing? It's early, I got it last year. I've had it for a while, and I'm gonna say I freaking love this thing. But there are other kids in the block now. There we have the Lenovo Legion, and we got the MSI Claw. And they're all pretty much boasting more than higher power than the OLED. And let's just take a quick look at them. The MSI Claw, everybody's talking about this thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. It's USB 4, it's the first one rocking the Intel chip, and to be honest, I am not impressed whatsoever by it. Mainly because I'm just not a big fan of MSI in general. I do have a motherboard by MSI, but they're probably my least favorite out of the PC manufacturers. I lean towards more of the ASUS side. Actually, I don't have an MSI motherboard. I sold that thing. I'm all ASUS gang. I'm just not a big fan of MSI, but doesn't mean that this thing's not good. You know, it has some great reviews. It's definitely more powerful than Steam Deck OLED, but to me, it has the same folly that all three of the other contenders have. The Legion Go, the Ally, they all have the same problem. They're all 1080p 120 and hertz screens, with the Legion being at 8-inch 144 hertz screen, which is even more stupid to me. Not the 8 inches, but the 144 hertz. It's kind of, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is it? Why? With that said, why is that a bad thing? The reason why I dislike the 1080p 120 hertz screen is because out of all these devices, none of them can do 1080p 120 hertz for the most part. Cannot do it unless you're playing a certain type of game you can run on potato. You're gonna get 120 hertz. But I'm talking about like the real games people are playing right now. Helldivers 2, Power World, Call of Duty, Fortnite. You're not getting 1080p 120 hertz on this. The only game I think you can get 1080p 120 hertz is probably Forza. That thing will run anything on anything. That thing you probably get close if you dumb down and put FSR on all of them. You'll probably get 120 hertz. So that's the reason why I don't like these devices, is because the hardware is stupid when you ask me, because it's all just a gimmick. 1080p or 144 hertz, blah blah, 1080p to 120 hertz, like Z1X, you know, it's just all gimmicks. It's all gimmicks, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's kind of stupid, because they should have just sold you something cheaper. They should have put a 900p screen that's 120 hertz, which probably an Ally could do, probably the Legion can do, probably the MSI can do, something that's 900p and or 720p even, but I don't think 720p would cut it nowadays, but 900p for sure. And you know, sell it cheaper, knock off a couple dollars, make it more competitive, make it $5.99 for this MSI Claw, make it, you know, $5.99 for the Legion, and then the same thing goes for the Ally. Like, make it cheaper and then dumb down the screen. And then your argument, people are going to argue, how come you do it 1080p? Because, and your argument has a really solid argument. There's no point in putting 1080p because these APUs can't do 1080p 120 hertz. Why are there 1080p 120 hertz? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why it's really hard for me to recommend any of these when something exists like the Steam Deck OLED, which is cheaper by $150 if you get the 512 one. I have the 649 one, and this is not a shill video telling you I'm Steam Deck fanboy. No, I'm not a Steam Deck fanboy. If the Legion, or I'm sorry, the ASUS came out next year with an Ally 2 that had a 7-inch 900p OLED, I'll even buy it if it has a 1080p OLED, to be honest. But it comes with an OLED, I will buy it. I will buy it in a heartbeat. I will ditch this Steam Deck OLED. I will put SteamOS on the Ally, or whichever company does it before Steam Deck comes out with their refresh Steam Deck OLED 2, hopefully. I will buy it. I will freaking buy it because this makes sense. 1280 by 800 HDR OLED display makes sense for the hardware. Would it be better if it had a Z1 Extreme on it or the Intel chip on it, the CU5 135H Intel Arc? Yeah, it would be better, but that doesn't exist. The one thing that does exist is the Steam Deck OLED with a 1280 by 800 HDR OLED that goes 90 hertz. That's what exists. That's what I will recommend to anybody. Yes, you have to turn down settings. Like Helldivers 2 barely plays on this thing on extreme, like barely, but it is playable. And it does look beautiful in the OLED. And I will always pick an OLED with a worse resolution than something that's not OLED. That has better resolution. I prefer it. And out of all these four, the only ones I've tried is the Ally and the Steam Deck. And the problem with the Ally that I have and these three have is it's on Windows. It's on Windows. Yes, they have their own game browsers, but nothing beats SteamOS. SteamOS is the best. It's the greatest. There is some issues with it. There's some faff, but you know, nothing's perfect. But it's better, in my opinion, than Windows. Navigating Windows on a handheld is not fun. And what this OLED has that none of these have is the trackpads. So they have trackpads. These don't. I don't know. Where's the picture of the trackpad? But you know what I mean. We have trackpads. These don't. And I didn't believe in the trackpads for a long time until I started using them. And for top-down scrollers or like, you know, top-down like Baldur's Gate, trackpad is life. I'm not gonna lie. I love the trackpad for games like that. And none of these have that except for the Legion, which turns into a mouse, which is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Still, you need to put it on a table to do that. So it's like, okay, well, if you're gonna sit on it, this is the stupid part with this Legion. I'm gonna rant about this. To use it like a mouse and a keyboard, you gotta put it on a table. But what else goes on a table? A fucking laptop or a computer goes on the table. So it's like, okay, that's cool and all, but if you really wanted to game like that, you could probably game on a desktop. So if you're buying something like Legion, more than likely you have a desktop already. So it's just hard for me to understand. Maybe I'm a psychopath. Maybe I'm crazy. Tell me how crazy I am, or maybe my views are closed-minded. Please tell me how, because I would love to. I guess I am a very biased person, but seriously though, I don't get these devices. I just don't get them, except for the fact that maybe you do. I'm playing devil's advocate. Maybe you do want that resolution, that 1080p resolution, and the more power for better frames. Maybe you dump it down. Maybe you get the Ally like I did and drop it down to 720p and got 100 frames playing Monster Hunter Rise. That was a nice experience. That was a great experience. 100 hertz in that game. Well, not really, because I was used to playing that game on the Switch, so I was playing like 30 frames on that thing. But what I will say is it's not a bad experience. It's not a bad experience. I will argue that I will pick a lower frame rate for a better screen. I'm just going to, and that's why I'm still gonna go with the OLED. So my recommendation here in, what is it, March 2024 is buy an OLED Steam Deck still. Definitely, just buy it. These other things, all of these three are trying to outdo the Steam Deck. And I think the reason why the Steam Deck is still my top pick is because even though it's extremely underpowered, it really is, it has a great OS to just game on that is just carefree and easy. You don't have to deal with Windows, nothing like that. It has a beautiful OLED display. And, you know, beautiful OLED display that does run to 90 hertz, which you're in most AAA titles, or if not all, you're never going to get 90 hertz, so it doesn't really matter. But if you play games like Brotato or Played Up or things like that, then you're for sure gonna get those. Or you play some older titles, you're for sure gonna get that 90 hertz and stuff like that. So, and the same goes for all of these too. But the argument is the OLED's cheaper, it has a better screen, its user face is nicer, its button layout is better, it has trackpads. The argument is always gonna be like the Steam Deck OLED's underpowered. It is, but it makes it up in so many ways. That's I guess that's the way to put it. And I guess the one more thing that someone's gonna argue is, oh, you could put Steam OS on all of these other devices, and then it'll be better than a Steam Deck. Yeah, you could put Windows on a Steam Deck, and it would actually suck. It's terrible using a Steam Deck on Windows because it was meant for Steam OS. But it doesn't change the fact that there's no trackpad, there's no OLED display. It's not $150 cheaper. I don't know if all these have Wi-Fi 6. Does this have Wi-Fi 6? Ooh, Wi-Fi 7. There you go, MSI Claw. Who has a Wi-Fi 7 router? I'm still on Wi-Fi 5. All I'm saying is, Poppy's opinion, buy a OLED. If you're on the fences, buy a OLED. If you have a Steam Deck LCD, buy the OLED. I really think it is a good upgrade, a noticeable upgrade between the LCD and the OLED. Yes, you won't be able to play some titles like the Ally. I'm actually thinking about buying an Ally real quick just so I can test out certain games on there. They're going for really cheap now on the used market, so I'm just waiting for like a really nice one to scoop up. I think you can get a refurbished one here from Best Buy pretty cheap now too. $399.99. That's almost as cheap as the used market. Is it the Z1? Oh, it's not the Extreme. So there's no used Z1 Extremes, but you can get this regular one. I'm renting now. That has nothing to do with anything. Buy a Steam Deck OLED. $549.99, still cheaper than everything. You're gonna love it. It's very comfy. Steam OS works great. It's just better. It's just better. I don't know. It's cheaper, and to me, it's better. So, let me know what you think. Are you gonna stick with the OLED? Are you gonna buy an OLED? Are you gonna go with the MSI Claw? Which I just don't like MSI. I just don't like it. I hate their branding. Look at this thing. This does nothing to me. Nothing for me. Nothing to me. Let me look at the back of this. The back looks pretty cool. I hate their logo. The Legion is probably the coolest one. Oh, the Legion does have a trackpad. I am tripping. It does have a trackpad. So hey man, sorry, I did not know the Legion had trackpad. I definitely think I would go for a Legion now that I think about it. It's cheaper. Yeah. I just think it's cooler. I think they're more innovative. The screen is bigger, but like I said, if they just dropped the screen size down or just the resolution down, make it 90 hertz and made it cheaper, like they did with the OLED, why not just make it cheaper? Why not make it cheaper? But yeah, that's just my thoughts. And there you have it. That is my take on which handheld I would suggest here in 2024. And yeah, and OLED wins for me every single time. It just is the most balanced system out of them all, and I highly recommend it over any of the other ones. Yes, it's underpowered, but it makes it up in so many other ways. If you have not tasted OLED, go to your local Best Buy or any store that sells OLED TVs and look them side by side between an LCD or LED and an OLED, and I promise you're gonna be like, damn, that OLED looks good. And it looks damn good on the Steam Deck. It looks so good. Until one of the competitors, and I'm gonna guess it's Asus, because Asus already makes OLED displays, which are probably from LG or Samsung. But I have a Asus OLED display. You've seen it in several other videos. I love this display. 60 Hz 1080p. It looks great. It's amazing. It's immaculate. I think they're gonna do it next. I think Asus is gonna come out with a more expensive version of the Ally 2 that's gonna have the OLED. It's probably gonna be $100 more than the other ones, and I think that's the one I'm going to get to replace the Steam Deck. If maybe the Steam Deck comes out with a refresh again next year, maybe something with better hardware, maybe exact OLED came out with a version with a Z1 Extreme or something comparable to that, I'm gonna pick that one too. So mainly because the OLED's way more comfortable out of the gate versus the Ally. And you're saying yes, you can buy grips for the Allies. Enough of this ranting. Let me know what you would pick. Would you go with the Claw, the Ally, the Legion, or would you go with the OLED from Steam Deck? So let me know in the comments below. You know what I'm going for, but I would like to hear what you're going for. But other than that, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.